Greetings, programs. This is Wretch. Welcome back to Call of Cthulhu. And in the last episode, we came face to face with the Shambler guys and barely got out alive. And now it's time to start Chapter 7, the Nameless Bookstore. The Shambler turned out to be much more than an artwork painted by Sarah Hawkins, as a huge creature came out of the painting to attack Pierce. After a hard fight, the detective managed to send it back into the painting. He later discovered that the dagger he used to repel the creature had been sold to Sanders by a man named Algernon Drake, owner of the Nameless Bookstore. Pierce decides to pay the library a visit. Looks like someone else has paid a visit to it first. Does this man own a gun? He really should, in his line of work. Inspect the bookstore.
Where is the bookseller?
Yeah, we'll probably find him in pieces here, I would imagine.
Freud's The Interpretation of Dreams. It's the work that laid the foundations of psychoanalysis at the beginning of this century.
This practical work, written by Sigmund Freud for a psychologist, describes the techniques of analytical interpretation of dreams. The analysis must follow several rules, especially that of free association, a principle announced by Freud at the end of the 19th century. It treats dreams as a way of revealing buried desires. I cannot believe that this theory is applicable to my nightmares. Yay for medicine progression. You can probably find all the books here.
An old diary.
The pastor declared himself to be the prophet. He renounced God and worshipped a strange pagan entity with a monstrous appearance. His wife tried to reason with her husband, but in vain. He was convinced that he must listen to this voice in his head because it holds the truth. Ugh, things not going well in that story. Someone playing chess. Medical charts. Oh, Moby Dick. Again, that seems to be a recurring theme here. History of Darkwater, Volume 4. In the 19th century, as the American whaling industry reached its peak in the rest of the world, whales gradually disappeared from the waters surrounding Darkwater. This phenomenon appears to be even more mysterious because, up until then, the region was a favored refuge for whales. In 1847, after months of pursuit, Scylla returns to port with a gigantic creature on board. Its crew asserts that the sea monster had eaten all the disappeared whales. After a night of ferocious combat, the survivors managed to drag the beast onto the whaling ship. Also, paying attention to any spot hidden checks. Oil is full up, which I guess should be helpful. We haven't really used our lantern or lighter that much. I think that would have been a bad case in regards to the Shambler. A Puritan colony, led by Reverend John Wickwood, settled on the island during the 17th century. They named the island Darkwater because of the dark shades of the sea. They believed it was because of the peculiar color of the rocks surrounding the island. They erected the first buildings, among which were the Hawkins Manor, the church, and the cemetery. The rare documents and handwritten notes they left spoke of nightmares and deviant behaviors. They disappeared at the beginning of the 18th century. I always like those kind of stories that make it believe that Roanoke that the colony of Roanoke disappeared because of something Lovecraftian. I like those alternative histories. Oh.
The Book of Zion is the foundational work behind Helena Blavatsky's theosophical movement. Its followers place truth on the same footing as a religion.
These Tibetan writings are part of the origin of the esoteric movement founded by Helena Blavatsky at the end of the 19th century. The creator of Theosophy would have drawn extensively on the text of this work, but no one has ever been able to consult them. I thought they didn't exist. This book, discovered in the Nameless Bookstore on Darkwater, could be as much a fake as irrefutable proof of Blavatsky's sincerity. Well, that gives us... Oh, hello? Even a few years back, it was possible for a single practitioner to know all the medical knowledge of his time. This book, which concludes the series, shows that this is now virtually impossible. About 10 renowned doctors took part in putting together this collection. We're gonna get all the knowledge, guys. Handbook on Anatomy and Dissection. As precise and illustrated with as much detail as the first volume, this book focuses on healing surgeries specific to malformations and motor disorders. Will you read the book? Yes. Nothing bad ever came out of a book now, did it?
What does this strange book contain? This book contains unholy knowledge.
The Malleus Mysterium. This collection catalogs and classifies creatures that I had never heard of. Divinities from the stars, creatures capable of traveling from one dimension to another. It presents itself as the reference work on the bestiary of the myth. Without giving details on the mythology to which it refers, its pages are covered with phantasmagorical illustrations. And there's our shambler. Oh. What just... The screen just went black on my end. I don't know if it came off in the recording, but that was kind of creepy. I remember saying it during Call of Cthulhu Dark Corners of the Earth. One of the creepiest things about that game was the fact that it messed with your Xbox and gave you the appearance that something was going wrong, or maybe you were going slightly insane. They play around with stuff that you don't really see in games anymore. I guess because they had the freedom to.
What happened here?
Ooh. Okay, let's go ahead and take a look around here first before we reconstruct any scene. The least that can be said about this book is that its title is well conceived. The illustrations of human anatomy and dissection methods are illustrated in great detail. You have to have a strong heart or the detachment proper to doctors to consult its pages. Noted. Okay. There's a crowbar here. Nothing else to glean. Alright.
Let's start over. Where did they break in from? Blood. Seems like amateur work.
Yeah, but still.
To whom does this footprint belong?
Okay. Can't go that way.
This burglar seems to be rather clumsy.
Maybe something bad happened? Well, I mean, obviously something bad happened, but... Got multiple clues here.
What sort of thief leaves his tools at the crime scene?
Mr. Freeman. Oh, there was a dead rat.
What killed all these animals?
And bugs.
What happened that made the burglar flee before finishing his work?
The Elder Sign, I would assume. It's like a cross for Dracula.
What the... Charles Hawkins?
Error. Error.
Looks like the symbol rejected Hawkins. Where did I see it?
You saw it in the cells, my good sir. Wait, is anything else going on here? This has gotten strangely cyberpunkish. Okay.
What sort of power did Sarah Hawkins' painting possess?
That must be the bookseller.
Sarah Hawkins helped hide something in this safe. Drake put in a great deal of effort to hide whatever is in here. Everything is linked to the Sarah Hawkins case.
Okay. That took a weird turn. Oh, and now we can check drawers. Alright, first things first.
Drake left instructions on how to find the combination of his safe.
If somebody finds these memoirs, there will be no doubt that I am in serious trouble. My last and only hope is that my body and bones are still in this plane of reality, in order that they are recovered and burned. The funeral urn must be given to my dear mother, if she is still of this world. The following message is of capital importance. Whoever reads these lines and demonstrates acuity as sharp as mine can hope to gain access to my most precious possession. It lies within my safe, and the clues to the combination are to be found in 3 cylinders, each hidden where life and study combine in the Greek world. Each cylinder is numbered, even if, as the celebrated author says, order is the pleasure of reason, but disorder is the delight of the imagination. Ooh, I like that quote. Indeed, despite my preference for unorganized chaos, I must admit that reason usually prevails in the end. If by chance a person, or should I say a genius, was to match my intellect and find the combination of the safe, I would ask that they deliver its contents into the safekeeping of my friend and colleague, Professor Armitage of Miskatonic University. Nice. The content of this safe is not only a vast digest of knowledge, but also a weapon that is far too dangerous for it to fall in the wrong hands. I hope that you'll be able to appreciate the danger that this represents, and that you will act accordingly. In any event, I will neither be there to guide you, nor to suffer from your actions. Alrighty.
Is everyone on this island taking sleeping pills?
Does the bookseller suffer from insomnia?
What link did he find between Charles Hawkins and an old amulet?
The Key of Riley file. This key, that bears the Elder Sign, is the only one able to protect your psyche. It is in the form of a cylindrical medallion hanging at the end of a heavy chain. Hundreds of years ago, the star and the branch whose purpose is to push back the forces of the great old ones were engraved at its center. Everything points to it being Charles Hawkins that tore it from the last owner, an Egyptian antique dealer. In press cuttings that mention the misdemeanor, the date of the robbery coincides with the last of Hawkins' trips off to Cairo. It remains to be seen whether he knows of the true purpose of the artifact. Try to find it. Okay. Oh, I don't think we can't open that safe. We don't have any of the tools right now. Holy crap. Okay.
Arkham editions. Never heard of him.
Written by Hermes Trismegistus, Gesundheit. Translated and edited by Nathaniel M. Coppelius. This collection of text on different beliefs was written by a legendary philosopher. It includes a translation of the Emerald Tablet, a popular text among 16th century alchemists. This volume is part of the Arkham Anthology, a luxurious collection of treatises and works on esotericism and the supernatural.
How many volumes are there in this collection?
Things That Should Not Be, a study of American folklore by Albert Wilmarth. A collection of essays on American folklore and urban legends written by Albert Wilmarth, professor of Miskatonic University. This volume is part of the Arkham, okay? Why are they all here, though?
Another volume by Arkham Editions.
Aurea Linda, an ancient Phrygian manuscript translated by William R. Sandbach. The text claims that in the distant past, Europe and other continents were controlled by the mothers of this people, and moreover, that our alphabet is derived from the Frisian language. This volume, okay. Collect the whole set.
Arkham Editions. Never heard of him.
The Prophecies by Nostradamus, a collection of long-term astrological predictions written in verse. Written by Nostradamus, translated by E. Leone and Theophilus Widebridge.
How many volumes are there in this collection?
Quite a bit, I would imagine. Opera in 8 acts by Buonvuto Chiete. I'm not even going to butcher these. An infamous lyrical work published in Italy in 1768. It is said that the opera was performed only once, resulting in an audience riot that left several dead and missing. I remember there's one play, or that actually might be it. I remember in the Call of Cthulhu core book that the entire act, the entire performance, actually summons Azathoth as its finale.
Another volume by Arkham Editions.
The Key of Solomon, a book of spells supposedly written by the legendary King Solomon. It contains various rituals of invocation and rituals of curse. Reedition by Claudia D. Waits, based on L.W. D. Lawrence's original. Waits.
Arkham Editions. Never heard of him.
Isis Unveiled, a book of esoteric philosophy and a key text in Madame Blavatsky's Theosophical movement.
How many volumes are there in this collection?
Speaking of which, Azathoth and Other Horrors, a collection of poems by Edward Pickman Derby. Oh, neat. Also known as the Nightmare Lyrics, this collection of poems was sensationally received when first published in 1908. Derby was only 18 years old. Okay, maybe we can go find the rest of these editions. Ooh.
Cylinders that Drake tried to hide. I should perhaps listen to them.
Alright, any more editions? Because I would like to read them, if possible. Or were they all just back there? I hope I didn't miss one. Just double checking to make sure. I didn't even see what was on the chalkboard. That might have been the clue that they were talking about. Well, before we do that, let me double check and make sure that I've read all of these.
Another volume by Arkham Editions.
Okay.
Arkham Editions.
Arkham Editions.
How many volumes are there in this collection? Another volume by Arkham Editions. Arkham Editions. Never heard of him. How many volumes are there in this collection?
You should be hearing
another volume by Arkham Editions.
Lordy. Also need to check in the spot hidden. I mean, if anything would be hidden well, it would be in a library. So actually, just give me 1 sec, guys. I'm going to do another thorough go-over. Oh, hello there. That is not the cup of a carpenter.
A kind of chalice.
This goblet seems to be very ancient. It seems to be made of gold and decorated with real precious stones. Do the rubies and sapphires make up a specific motif? Oh, potentially. 2 greens, blues along the bottom, reds in between the greens. I bet that is a clue. Well, I'm glad that we checked that. Yes, all the Arkham editions. We are familiar. Alright, well, I guess now is the time that we need to go ahead and check the cylinders for what kind of information they can glean. I don't know, I just feel like saying glean today. Does that make sense? Drake Cylinder 1.
And these red drops, like precious stones, lie fixed, set in divine gold. To be the guardian of the Grail does not protect me from its attractions, Henry. And I do confess it. I am willing to pay to know its secrets.
Okay, so red stones in the chalice. Next up.
I finally understood that we were only pieces on the chessboard of the gods. Let those of us who are still standing protect our White Queen from their dark soldiers. I see our number dwindling. and my will strengthens as my apprehension grows. We shall refuse to be the playthings of destiny.
Alright, so the amount of white pieces on the chessboard that aren't the queen.
Dear friend, I thank you again for the anthology of the works of Arkham editions that you sent me. Volume 9, Azathoth and Other Horrors, seemed particularly relevant to my research. I never tire of browsing through them.
Okay.
Dear friend, I thank you again for the anthology of the works of Arkham editions.
The Chalice of Knowledge.
Yes, indeed. So, let's start here from this crack. This is a good starting point. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So there's 5 red gems. I'm writing that down.
Volume 9, Azathoth and Other Horrors, seemed particularly relevant to my research. I never tire of
The
browsing
Queen has
through
little
them.
protection.
Yep, 2 knights and a rook. So that is 3 pieces still on the board. 5, 3, maybe 4. We'll go ahead and write that down just in case. And in terms of the Arkham editions, we had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. What was the Azathoth and Other Horrors? Just because I want to, I think it was number 9. Yes.
So these are the volumes that Drake was talking about in his message.
Yes, indeedy. Alright. So, let's see here. Number 1, we will change lock. W and S to rotate. 5. Let's go ahead and go with 3. And then 8. Negative. Okay. Let's go with 4. 8. I may be missing a volume here. I'll double check one more time to make sure. One, 3. Did I miscount? Oh, I did. There is one of the editions that we're not. That's just kind of sitting here. So 1, 2. So 9. There's 9 of them. I guess that would make sense, but that we only were able to tap 8, so 5, 3, 9. Thought he may have been missing one edition. Be sure to drink your Ovaltine. I see you. Ooh. It's like Cthulhu meets Cerebro. Awkward. Oh no. Riverside Institute. Achievement unlocked the book. In the Nameless bookstore, Pierce traced the trail of an attempted burglary. He discovered that Charles Hawkins was behind the attempt. Pierce opened the bookseller's safe to find what the latter and Sarah Hawkins had hidden there. A book covered in human skin lied inside, irresistibly attracted the detective. When he opened it, his mind was projected into another body. Okay. Well, we're about to have a out-of-body experience here, guys. This should be interesting. Kind of curious where this is going to go. And whose body are we going to be projected into? Is it going to be the doctor's or maybe the Was it a nurse? I think it was a nurse who helped us escape Riverside the first time. I guess we'll find out. As we, literally enter madness.
Dr. Colden, this man's condition is deteriorating.
What says Dr. Fuller? It's his patient, after all.
He's busy with Captain Fitzroy. He specifically asked us not to bother him when that's the case.
Oh, of course. I'll see what I can do.
Okay, so
Mr. Blake, can you hear me? I'm Dr. Colden. We'll take care of you.
There's nothing we can do. I tried talking to him. He's catatonic.
Okay, let's examine the patient.
Very well. I'll examine him. His skin shows abnormal loss of color and seems dried out. He's totally dehydrated. His fingertips and toes seem to feature a slight ring under the skin, tender at the touch, slightly sticky.
Ew.
Severe malnutrition. Swollen abdomen with traces of petechia. Doesn't seem like an edema. Slight protuberances seem to indicate the presence of a foreign body.
So he's got a chest burster. Lovely.
30-year-old subject. Severe hypothermia. Erythematous papules around the eyes and eardrums. Necrosed palpebral tissue. Lord, this smell.
So, Doctor, an opinion?
I'm not sure I have the necessary knowledge to treat this man.
Don't say that. You're our most worthy doctor after Dr. Fuller.
Some of his symptoms are beyond my comprehension.
What did you find?
He's severely... Let's go ahead, yeah.
Did you examine his abdomen? It would seem there's something inside.
He hasn't eaten in days. Are you certain it's not an edema?
No. Can't you recognize an edema? Pushing with your finger won't leave a trace. And look at these bumps.
It's not like he could be pregnant.
Whatever it is, this man has something inside him that shouldn't be there. We should operate on him at once.
Dr. Fuller said not to worry, that the edema would go away by itself.
You know, I'm not sure Dr. Fuller is telling the truth.
Shock. Horror.
In spite of the muscle contractions, his arms seem limp.
Yes. They can't have decalcified, not at this rate.
And yet, if there is a bone in this arm, it's softer than that of a newborn baby. What about his cranium?
It's soft at the touch. It does seem like the skull of a baby.
Look at these sticky rings growing at his fingertips. What can be happening?
I'm sure you'll find an explanation. You have to.
Phalanges.
I see signs of hypodermoclysis, but he's still dehydrated. When was his last IV?
He's constantly under perfusion. I've even gone beyond the recommended dose to no avail. And you won't believe me, but when we bathed him earlier...
He seemed to feel better?
Yes. Like he needs an aquarium, not a perfusion. But that doesn't explain his condition.
Is he turning into a deep one?
I almost don't believe it myself, but these symptoms are not those usually associated with the human species.
What do you mean? Don't tell me you believe in extraterrestrials.
No. This poor man is from our world, all right. But his body is undergoing unnatural mutations. And this transformation is killing him. His body simply can't cope.
Where could he have gotten such an infection?
I pray that it's not here.
Oh.
Dr. Colden, may I know what you're doing to my patient?
What I'm doing? How about what you've done to him?
Let us calm down, my dear Marie. I don't appreciate your tone, nor your insinuations. I've done to him what I do to all my patients. provide him with the best available care.
Your imagination is without limit. It's your homemade drug again, is it not? Those people are not your guinea pigs.
There. What have you seen to put you in such a state?
No, let's go here.
His limbs? His body temperature? I don't know what experiments you've undertaken, but this is going too far.
Oh, I sense some excitement beneath your indignation. Could it be you wish to join me in my scientific endeavors?
You are a brilliant physician, Dr. Fuller, but this man has the attributes of some kind of animal.
Fascinating. An animal, you say? Could you be more precise? Cephalopod, perhaps?
This amuses you.
Your reaction does. I know your thirst for knowledge, Doctor. It's your innocent worries for this man that have you overreacting.
For this man, and the others whose medical files you've been hiding.
I have to protect my discovery. These people owe me their life, but the world isn't ready yet. It will be, in time.
I will not let you do this.
You disappoint me, Marie, but I still have hope you'll one day share my point of view. In the meantime, take care of your own patients and try not to forget who you're dealing with.
Yeah, let's not worry about the yellow eyes behind his glasses.
Was that a threat? What did he mean?
It was a warning. Dr. Fuller is this institution's founder and one of our profession's most influential voices. My word is of no weight against his. If I continue to protest, I will only ruin my reputation and career.
It's scandalous. Can't we do anything? Is there no evidence of his crimes?
Oh, that evidence exists. I'm sure of it. I need to find the missing medical files.
And where would you find those? In his office? What if you get caught?
I'd rather not think about that. I'm counting on your discretion.
Of course, Doctor. You can count on me. I'll keep mum.
Thank you, nurse. And looks like we are here in the possessing the body of Dr. Colden. This is an interesting twist. Alright guys, I guess we will be hunting for those hidden files in the next episode. Hope you all have enjoyed it. It almost like it's a injectable form of the Innsmouth taint. Huh. Well, if you guys liked the episode, please leave a like down below. Subscribe to the channel, leave a comment, that'd be a big help. And we'll see you next time. Later days, everyone.